Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the Veterans Virtual Job Fair. Today, we will be hearing from 10 employers hiring for positions across multiple industries. Each employer will speak for 10 minutes to give you some information about their company, and will highlight the job openings they currently have. If you have any questions at any time, please type them into the chat, and we will address them during the Q&A session that will be taking place after all employers have presented. Today's session is being recorded and will be made available in the employer booths for you to refer to later. Now, I am pleased to introduce Richard with IDES. Richard?
Good morning. On behalf of the Illinois Department of Employment Security's Acting Director, Richards, welcome to today's Veterans Virtual Recruitment Series. Thank you to our employers, military service members, and spouses for taking part in today's event. A special thank you to our workforce partner, Illinois workNet, for helping to facilitate the activities. My name is Richard Withridge, Statewide Veterans Program Manager for IDES. I served in the United States Army Field Artillery, Multiple Launch Rocket System, and retired after 22 years. I've been with IDES since 2003 and Statewide Veterans Program Manager since 2014. Today, we want to focus on our featured employer panel to find out more about their businesses and job opportunities, including how to apply. Today, we have Amazon, American Dental Association, Calibre System, Construction Industry Service Corporation, FedEx, HSSC Blue Shield Blue Cross, Illinois Department of Revenue, Pepsi Co, and Rush University St. Luke's Medical Center. As job seekers, you may want to take notes and pick up on keywords used by employers to possibly incorporate into your resumes. I turn this over to our Veterans Business Specialist, Johnny Rodriguez.
Thank you, Richard. Good morning, everybody. My name is Johnny Rodriguez. I'm with the Illinois Department of Employment Security. I'm the local veteran employment rep for the Maywood and Burbank office. Today, our first presenter would be Amazon, Ms. Namaya Baker.
Hi, Namaya, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you guys.
Fantastic. You can begin your presentation whenever you are ready.
So I just kind of wanted to introduce myself. My name is Namaya Barker. I am a staffing, I work at Amazon Workforce Staffing, and we do pretty much the hire pipeline for all the warehouses within the Chicagoland area. I have actually been with Amazon for 8 months. I originally started in the warehouse at FC and Moni. I was a still. I did the stilling. I was working in the stilling department. And then due to COVID and everything that was going on, I found the opportunity to work in human resource, which is what my background is. So there's so much opportunity just as a person who just went through the warehouse that you can go up if you follow the proper steps. For military, we have so many opportunities for you guys, especially with just the benefits, which is a lot of the militaries and veterans that I spoke with. That's something that catch their attention because it's not only just for them, but it's also for military spouses and their children as well. And then we also have a lot of things on here. Just a moment. We also just have opportunities for fulfillment centers, delivery stations, sortation centers, and as well as the Prime Now. For fulfillment centers, you can work inside an Amazon warehouse seeking packing and shipping customer orders. You'll interact with innovative and technology daily. At our delivery station, Amazon's delivery stations are the final stop before an order hits out for delivery for customers at customer store. Sortation centers, those are the first stop on the journey from the warehouse. So basically you'll be up on your feet moving and sorting packages between trucks. And then our Prime Now, that's to enjoy the thrill of working with a small team to select and pack orders and get items ready to deliver in an hour. So that's more of like a fast-paced environment when you're at the Prime Now. And then this is a message from Jeff Bezos, something he always stated when it comes to military. We actively seek leaders who can innovate, think big, have a bias for action, and deliver results on behalf of our customers. This principle looks very familiar to men and women who have served our country in the armed focuses, and we find that their experiences leading people and valuable in our fast-paced work environment. That's something that Jeff Bezos actually thrives on and talks about a lot when it comes to bringing on and embracing military and vets.
Hi, Namaya. Is there anything else that you would like to present before we move to the next employer?
No, that'll be all because my slideshow actually is very long. The virtual events that we normally do is actually on something that's separate. So if you are interested in joining a more personal virtual like hiring event for Amazon to show you exactly how to get hired on, that's something that we can actually get set up through IDES, and then we can set some dates up for anyone interested with joining Amazon.
Fantastic.
So that'll be pretty much it.
Fantastic. Thank you, Namaya. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Ms. Barker. Our next presenter will be Ms. Kim Miles from American Dental Association.
Kim, are you available to present?
Yes, I apologize. I was on mute, just talking away.
No worries.
Again, my name is Kim Miles. I'm the recruiter at the American Dental Association. I am accompanied by my manager, who is Darshna Patel. She's the Senior Manager of Talent Acquisition and Employee Relations. You can go to the next slide. Just a little bit about the ADA. We were founded in 1859. We're the largest organization representing dentistry in the United States. We exist to power the profession of dentistry and to assist all members in advancing the overall oral health of their patients. We have over 163,000 members. We have a great location located downtown at 211 East Chicago. And we also have 4 other locations, 2 in Washington, D.C., for our government affairs, and then also 2 in Gaithersburg, Maryland, which is for science and research. We also have 2 for-profit LLCs. We have ADA, which is ADA Business Enterprise, Inc., and that's our affinity program for our members, and the employees get to enjoy those benefits as well. We have ADA Big, which is ADA Business Innovation Group, and they have a product called ADAPT, which is ADA Practice Transitions, and it's pretty neat. It is like the Match.com of dentistry. So it matches dentists who want to transition out of their practice with dentists who want to transition into a practice. So it's a pretty neat program. We also have ADA Science and Research Institute, which is ADA SRI. You can go to the next slide. Our brand is the ADA powers the profession of dentistry to advance the overall oral health of the public. Our mission is to help dentists succeed. Again, we have 163,000 members, and of course, there's more dentists out there. And our vision is to achieve optimal health for all. We have 7 core values: commitment to members, integrity, excellence, commitment to improve oral health, science and evidence-based, diversity, and inclusivity. So why work for us? We are one of the best places to work. The ADA is a great place to work with a great work-life balance and a great work environment. We were named to a 2019 top workplace by the Chicago Tribune, as you can see in your right corner. We have a Glassdoor review of 4.3 out of 5. We have a great downtown location located by the Magnificent Mile. We have great benefits, medical, dental, flexible spending, health spending accounts. We have a flexible work schedule. We have great work-life balance. We have competitive salaries, pension, which is unheard of these days, and 401k. We also have a generous amount of vacation, sick, and personal time, along with 10 paid holidays per year. The neat thing about the ADA, we also have communities within the ADA that our employees can actually participate in. We have what is called the Employee Advisory Community. And this community helps the senior leadership team sustain work policies and a work-life environment that remains relevant and engaging to our employees. We also have a social responsibility community. And this community, their mission is to make sure that the ADA and the employees become or remain socially responsible citizens. So some of the things that they do is Habitat for Humanity, excuse me. And they also do what I think is pretty neat is we're right next to Lurie's Children's Hospital, and all the patient-facing windows, we have little cartoons in them. So it gives the kids a little bit of something to look at, because some of those kids are there for quite a long time. So we like to change them up a bit every season or so. We also have a code drive. There's so many things that the social responsibility community does. We also allow our employees 2 days a year to participate in a community event of their choice, and we pay them for those 2 days. We have a social connection community, which in short, they get together and help plan all of our fun. And at the ADA, we love to have fun. We also have the diversity and inclusion community. And this community was created to make sure we have a culture that respects and values all human differences. Some of the positions we recruit for are accounting and finance, administration, business development, conference and meeting planning, education, government affairs, human resources, information technology, integrated marketing communication, publishing, science, and research. Currently, we have 8 job openings, and I'll briefly tell you about each one. After that, I'll tell you how to apply. The first job opening we have is Adapt Customer Advisor. Remember, Adapt is the program we have that is like the Match.com of dentistry. And so this position would be contacting leads and potential customers, answering questions, and getting the dentist ready to be a part of the program. This is a salary plus bonus position, so you have the potential to make a whole lot more money than your salary. What the minimum requirement is for this position is a bachelor's degree and a minimum of 3 years of general customer focus experience. If you don't have a bachelor's degree, we're looking for 7 years of general customer focus experience. The next position you'll see on this list is a practice transition administrator. Again, working with our ADAPT group. This position is 50% administrative support to the VP and 50% providing customer service to the dentist in the program by phone and email. The minimum requirements for this position is a bachelor's degree with 2 years of administrative level and customer service experience. And if you don't have a bachelor's, a minimum of 6 years of experience is required. We're also looking for someone who has intermediate proficiency in Microsoft Office. The next position on the list is a senior project assistant. On our website, it says administrative assistant. So this position provides support to the department, order supplies, drafts letters, reports, and agendas. There's a lot of electronic record keeping and also special projects as assigned. This position requires a bachelor's degree with 1 year experience in administrative support. And in lieu of a bachelor's degree, a minimum of 5 years is required. We do require also an advanced level Word proficiency, as well as intermediate proficiency level in Excel and PowerPoint. The next position is a coordinator position for our Commission on Dental Accreditation. It's a site visit coordinator. So they'll work closely with the managers coordinating site visits. They will be dealing with site visits that just happened, present visits, and future visits that are 2 to 3 years in advance. They'll be working with our volunteer dentists that do the site visits at the dental programs. The minimum requirement for this position is a bachelor's with 3 years experience working concurrently on multiple projects at different stages and timelines, and in lieu of a bachelor's, 7 years of experience is required. The next position is assessment specialist, meeting facilitation. On our website, it says testing specialist, and it's working with the volunteer test constructors for licensing exams. So they're looking for someone with a bachelor's degree and a minimum of 5 years experience working on projects independently in a fast-paced environment. You must have strong experience in writing and editing and be able to work effectively in a team environment and balance multiple projects. The next position is Manager Advanced Dental Education, and it oversees 2 site visit coordinators. There's a lot of report writing and ongoing communication with education programs as well as the volunteers. This position requires a master's degree and 5 years experience in higher education, accreditation, and its equivalent. Its supervisory experience of group or work committees is also required. You must have the ability to prioritize and execute accurate and complete work products with limited supervision. The next position is a manager predoctoral dental education. This position, you will be reviewing program reports, managing the logistics of 8 to 10 site visits per calendar year, and working with a variety of volunteers. It requires a master's degree and a minimum of 5 years experience in higher education, accreditation, or its equivalent, supervisory experience of group or work committees, working with a large number of volunteers and tracking details, and working in a team approach environment. Last but not least, our manager dental content and media development. This position will develop, review, and manage dental content and media assets for testing service examination programs. This position does require a DMD or a DDS, which is a dental degree, from a dental school accredited by the Commission of Dental Accreditation. A minimum of 2 years experience practicing dentistry is required, and the ability to thoughtfully and evaluate anatomical accuracy and quality of models or illustration of the oral cavity. On the screen, you should see our contact information. You can look at all of our open positions, and I invite you to take a look at them at least once a week at www.ada.org/jobs. You'll also see my information as well as Darshna Patel's information. And on a side note, Darshna has been with the company for 20 years, and I have been with the company. In January, I'll be there for 2 years, and we absolutely love it. Darshna, did you have anything to add? Did you want to unmute?
Thank you, Kim. I think you did a great job covering what the ADA offers. And I just want to add that the ADA, I have been with the ADA for 20 years. And what has kept me with the organization is the great work that we produce and our mission to the dental profession and the public on oral health, and it's a great team to work with and a wonderful leadership. So thank you.
Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you, Ms. Miles. Thank you, Ms. Patel. Our next presenter will be Kevin Todd from Calibre Systems.
All right, good morning, everyone. While the slides are coming up, first of all, I'd like to thank everybody for putting this together. I'm going to introduce myself real quick and then go into what Calibre has to offer for veterans and non-veterans or their family members. So I am a retiree also. The gentleman earlier said he had 22 years in the field artillery. I happen to have 22 years in the field artillery myself. I was a 13 Bravo field artilleryman for 22 years in the Army. I've been with Calibre Systems for 2.5 years, and Calibre Systems, if you look us up, we are a consulting firm, and what we do is if you look up all the contracts that we currently have, about 90% of the contracts are Department of Defense contracts. The other 10% is a small portion of what I cover and what I manage as the talent acquisition or the recruiting manager. And it is the automotive realm. So what we've done, Calibre Systems, just so you know, we're employee owned. 2 retired Army colonels in 1986 come up with Calibre Systems. They come up with a lot of contracts, and we've just grown since then. So we are employee owned. We are majority military or former military. And what I offer and what I want to talk about today are the job openings or the career openings that I have for prior military, retired military, and family members. And I'm going to talk about the automotive realm and what we have to offer. And more importantly, every job or every career that we have posted on our websites right now, these are VA approved and approved by the Department of Labor. So in other words, these are direct hire positions, and I have a lot of openings in the Chicagoland area for Ford Lincoln, Jaguar Land Rover, Mercedes, and Volvo. So what we've done is my supervisor, my director, he's a retired Army colonel, Bernie Highland, started this in 2012. He went out to Audi of America and developed what they call Vets to Techs program. So any veteran who has a maintenance background in the military or had a maintenance background before or after they were in the military, they would qualify for these programs. So now we've morphed or developed into and increased our portfolio, and we have the 4 that I mentioned earlier. We have the all of these direct hire programs for Mercedes, Jaguar Land Rover, Ford Lincoln, and Volvo. So I am a one-stop shop, which means that I am the recruiter for all of these programs. And I'll mention, I'm not sure if Johnny has this, but I'll mention where you go to apply. But what happens is once a veteran states that they are interested in one of these positions, they can go to the website. For instance, I'll give you an example. If you're interested in a Ford Lincoln service technician career, these are service technician positions only, and you have a maintenance background. If you were to go to www.ford-lincolntechs.com and apply, you're going to see a list of all of the job postings of Ford Lincoln dealerships who have registered for this veteran program. In other words, these Ford Lincoln dealerships in the Chicagoland area have said, we want to directly hire your veterans who have a maintenance background. So what happens is once you apply, I will reach out to you within usually about 48 hours by telephone and say, and explain the program to you and ensure that you are qualified. Now, the qualifications for these service technician careers are you must have an honorable discharge. It cannot be a general under honorable conditions. It has to be an honorable discharge. You do have to have a maintenance background or at least know the level 1 type experience on a vehicle, such as brake jobs, oil changes, things like this. Now, what does this consist of, this career? What happens is what I will do is send a veteran or a non-veteran, which I'll speak to here in just a little bit, but I'll send an email. It's one email and it's 4 steps. This is a simple application process. And once you complete the 3 steps, the 4th step is to call my cell phone. I work from my home here in Missouri, and we go through a pre-qualification checklist, and I am the direct contact to reach out to the hiring or the service manager of that specific dealership that you applied for. And I will basically roll out the red carpet and really market you to that service manager and say, look, I got a veteran or a candidate that has applied for your location. I need you to reach out within 3 business days to schedule an interview. And we even go into the wage, because again, this is a direct hire career. So once the candidate goes in and interviews with the service manager and they accept a wage and a start date, that's not the end of this career or this apprenticeship. What happens is, once the veteran is hired, what I'm going to do is ask the veteran if they want to take advantage of their GI Bill for the first 24 months that they are an employee of Ford Lincoln. So essentially, as I like to say, that veteran has the option to double dip. You're going to receive a wage from the employer at Ford Lincoln, and for the first 24 months, you have the option of using for instance, if you have post 9/11 GI Bill benefits, you're going to receive E5BAH with dependents based off of Dearborn, Michigan zip code, which is $1,797 a month for the first 2 years you're an employee, which is an awesome program. This is a fast track program, because what happens is, not only do I get your GI Bill benefits started, and not only do you get hired directly, what's going to happen is about 90 days from when you get hired, I'm going to send you to Houston, Texas, and that dealership who hired you pays 100% of your training when you go to Houston, Texas, and pays you a wage to get all of your Ford Lincoln certifications. You're going to return after that 4 weeks, and you're going to take 2 classes locally. It's going to be an advanced brakes class and a climate control class. And within the first 12 months of being an employee with Ford Lincoln, you're going to be a master chassis certified technician for Ford Lincoln. It takes 3 to 5 years to become a master chassis certified technician. You're getting that in a year, and you have the option of double dipping, and Ford Lincoln is paying 100% of that. In addition to that, every veteran who gets hired also receives a $4,000 Rotunda Ford branded toolkit that goes to them. Now, this is a 24-month apprenticeship. So the only stipulation here is that once the veteran gets hired, you owe that dealership a 2-year commitment. So they're paying about $20,000 to make every veteran a master chassis technician. And then after that 2 years is up, of course, that veteran or that employee continues on with their career. Now, I just wanted to touch on family members and their opportunity. We do have non-veteran or family member opportunities here. In the same realm, it is a service technician career. They're all direct hire positions. So if there are family members out there who have this education or experience, we have the other 3. We have Jaguar, Land Rover, Mercedes, and Volvo, who do have non-veteran programs. And it's usually the same process, exactly the same thing, except you will not receive GI Bill benefits, of course. But they are a 12-month apprenticeship. So what's going to happen is with Mercedes, Jaguar, Land Rover, and Volvo, it's a direct hire program. You'll go directly through me. And once hired, you will attend, depending on which OEM brand you go through, you'll attend a 3 or a 4 week academy at a specific location, still all paid for by the dealership that hired you, and you'll come back and you'll continue on with your career. So I really like to stress that these programs that we have, we're the only company right now, Calibre Systems, that offers a service technician program for veterans that is GI Bill approved, or it is VA approved, and Department of Labor approved. So this is a great opportunity. I always say it's a no-brainer program if we do have veterans out there who do have a maintenance background. And I think I just saw in the chat box, the question was if they do not have a maintenance background. you have to be able to, you got to think of it this way. If I go through my process, my vetting process with you, and you feel like you do have the level 1 knowledge, I would say apply, because all what I'm going to do, I know exactly, I'm not exactly, but I know what a service manager is looking for. They're looking for any veteran or non-veteran in all these programs who have the aptitude and attitude. And of course, they want someone who has the experience, but in certain cases, I'll give you an example. Ford Lincoln has what they call a quick lane, almost like a Jiffy Lube type environment within their dealerships. And they will take on someone who has level 1 experience, but you know, for a good example is someone who was artillery like myself, but I've done preventative maintenance checks and services. So I'm limited on my maintenance experience and abilities. But if you have the aptitude and attitude and you have the ability to learn, it is possible that you could be hired into this program. It just really, what it comes down to is, once we get through the process with me, I reach out to the service manager and say, look, you know, we're looking for the top 5 or 10% that come from the military. However, I do have a candidate that's very strong, very disciplined, and is really interested in the automotive career, but they are a little green when it comes to the automotive world, but they have performed duties, you know, maintenance on their own vehicles. Would you give them a chance and give them, you know, schedule an interview and see if they may fit into your service team? So, but that's what we offer with Calibre. And as you can see there, I just want to say, as you see there, it says calibresys.com. You will not find these openings on Calibre Sys. Now, there are IT positions. There are other positions within my own company itself. And I'd really like to promote our company. And there are a lot of virtual positions. So if you were to go to calibresys.com, we do have a lot of openings within our company. However, if you do, or if you're interested in any of our automotive programs in the Chicagoland area, you can reach out to me. My number is 573-315-9081, and I can direct you to one of those 4 career opportunities through Jaguar Land Rover, Mercedes, Volvo, or Ford Lincoln. But you do have to go to a specific site for each one of those to apply for me to reach out to you. And I'm going to tell you, you know, what's the turnaround time. I really like to put this out there to my veteran, non-veterans who are looking for a career. The turnaround time is very fast on when you apply and when I get you scheduled for an interview. I think it's important to, yes, my number again is 573-315-9081. And I'll go ahead and put my email out there too. It's Kevin, Kevin, .Todd, TODD, that's Delta, at Calibre, and we're spelled, as you can see on the screen, CALIBRESYS.com. Again, real quick, just one last thing, the turnaround. When someone applies with me and they go through my 4-step process, I reach out to a service manager, and I expect that service manager to schedule an interview with that candidate within 3 working days. You know, we know that there's a market out there, and we know there's a lot of veterans who are seeking a career now, not a month from now. So I make it a point that every 3 days I will be reaching out to ensure that a veteran, or any candidate in this case, is getting scheduled, and we're moving you through the process and ensuring that you're getting taken care of and getting your career. So thank you for your time, and I wish everyone luck. And give me a call anytime. If I do not answer them on conference calls, I will call you by the end of my day. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Mr. Todd. Our next presenter will be Janetta Ryan from CISCO. If you do have any questions, please use the chat box. We will answer those questions once you do put them on the chat box. So Ms. Janetta, please.
Okay, good morning. And to you veterans, thank you for your service. You do a lot that I would never want to do. My name's Janetta Ryan. I work for an organization called CISCO, and that stands for the Construction Industry Service Corporation. Next slide. What I do is I go out and promote union apprenticeship programs in the construction industry. Union. An apprentice in the trades is a student of the trade. They learn through both classroom instruction and on-the-job training. And now there's 24 trades that we provide information on our website. 21 of them pay you from the very first day you start. So you're going in there, basically some people don't know anything like which end of a hammer to hold, and they're getting paid. Average start pay is around $20 an hour. Next slide. The training, and I'm going to talk to you about how much money they make and their great benefits and everything. But the best thing I could tell you is the training that you're going to receive is nationally recognized as state of the art. The programs are certified by the United States Department of Labor, and the training is free. There is no tuition. We've got people that come out of college owing $90,000, and maybe you went into the electricians union, which is a 5-year program. When you get to journey level, you don't owe anybody anything, but you're making $50-some an hour. Next slide. The wages. Most times, unions pay their workers more money than non-union. And their money's guaranteed. They can't say, well, we're going to pay you $40 for this project, and then the next project only pay you $20. Whatever your contract says that you make is what you're going to get. And again, it's guaranteed. And then benefits. Young people just don't understand how important it is to have health insurance. The health insurance you get in the trades is free. It's medical, dental, vision care, your prescription drugs. It covers you and your spouse. If you have kids, it covers you, your spouse, and your kids, and it's free. And retirement benefits. I'm got 6 months to go and I'm retiring, and I got to tell you, I am very grateful for my retirement benefits. And then you learn a skill that no one is ever going to be able to take away from you. Whenever any new technology comes out, they bring you back into school and they train you on the new technology. And depending on the trade again, you could take extra classes into other things so you become more valuable to a contractor. Because I get a lot of people saying, I want to be a flagger. They make $45 an hour. Well, they don't work that much, because if that's all you can do, you're not going to have that much work. Next slide. Now, the basic requirements to get in there, you have to be 18. There is no cutoff age. I mean, if you're 100 and can pass the tests, they got to take you. And right now, the average age of an apprentice is 26 years old. You've got to have a high school diploma or GED for most of the trades. Some of them will let you apply with the 10th grade education, but most of them, they want a high school diploma or GED. You've got to have a valid driver's license. And for some trades, you have to have reliable transportation. You're not going to work near home. You might not go to school near home. You've got to be able to get to school and to work. And they've got strict attendance policies. If you're a half hour late, it counts against you. If you have 3 tardies, they add that in as 1 absence. 3 absences your first year, they will throw you out of the program. You've got to be there every day on time, which is a half hour early. You're going to have to, well, you military people know how to get up early in the morning, get ready and go to work. You have to be a legal resident of the United States, have a social security card, physically fit, and then they have an aptitude test. Now, the most important part on that aptitude test is the math portion. You've got to be really good in math. And I'm not talking calculus or trigonometry. I'm talking about adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. Fractions and decimals are very important. And you've got to be able to read a ruler. Because when you go for that aptitude test, it depends on how high you score as how long you're going to wait to get into the program. And then another test that they give out, which a few people have to study harder for than others, is the drug test. Now, marijuana is legal in Illinois. The drug tests that they use are federal drug testing. So marijuana is still illegal. They do random drug testing. I mean, I've been to some schools where the kids will count out on their hands because they know hair follicle stays in 6 months and they'll count out that 6 months. But you are going to get random drug testing. Next slide. The wage rate for journey level. I mean, most of them now are making higher than mid 40s, 40, maybe $45 to $50 an hour. You can make $100,000 a year or more with the overtime. But one of the bad things about construction, there is no guarantee for 52 weeks a year for work. I'm going to be real upfront with you right now. There is no trades that are open for applications at this point. Once the weather gets bad, which I don't think it's ever going to do this year, but once the weather gets bad, they don't bring anybody in. And then the COVID thing. A lot of construction workers are on the bench. They're not working. When you go in as an apprentice, you're going to get a raise every 6 months until you reach journey level. Then at journey level, you get a raise every year. Now, the start wage for an apprentice depends on the trade. It could go from $25,000 to $33,000 a year. And then in your benefit package is your insurance and your pension. And that's a separate total thing. Your money is your money. Nothing is taken out of your weekly wage to pay for your insurance and pension. So maybe you make $50 an hour, but it actually works out to around $70 an hour if you add in your benefit package. Next slide. Again, math. I know I've been out of school a real long time. I couldn't do a fraction right now if my life depended on it. There are different organizations that are out there right now. If you're kind of bad in math, there's an organization called Hire 360 that will prepare you for the construction tests. For any of you females, there's an organization, Chicago Women in Trades, that help women out. So there is help out there. Next slide. Military, they always love talking about having the guys and women from the military because you've got the right attitude. You know how to work as a team. You know how to be a team player. and you come to work every day on time and drug-free. That's what will keep you employed and making money. Because the contractors are looking for people with good work ethics. And if you're there half hour early, ready to work, you'd never miss any time. They don't have to tell you what to do. They don't find you on your phone talking to whomever during work hours. The better the employee you are, the more money you can make. Next slide. Okay, the application process. Yes, reliability, that does it. The application process, when they are open, our website is CISCO.org, CISCO.org. When any of the trades open up for applications, we put it on our website. You can apply to one or more trades. Now, there is a $25 application fee. The electricians, I think, just went up to $50 for their application fee. And, oh gosh, I think it's sheet metal is $100. But you got to fill out the application. Make sure you meet all the basic requirements, because if you don't meet them all, they're not going to give you an application. Phone first. I worked at the phone company for 30 years. I always remember the saying, phone first, to see if the applications are being accepted. And all their numbers is on our website. Next slide. Okay, apply in a timely manner. That means, now the plumbers unfortunately aren't going to be opening this year, but when they do open, they're open for 2 weeks. Any trade that you decide that you want to get into, if they're only open for 2 weeks, get there the first couple of days when they're open. Because if you show up that last day and there's a line and they close at 11 and you're outside, it's not when you go vote, the doors closed and you're just SOL, and I know everybody knows what that means. So get there a couple of days when they first open up. And make sure you have all the identification that they want when you go there, because that could stop you from going in. Now, once you've gone in and put in your application, they will notify you of your test date, and they normally test on Saturdays. Prepare for the aptitude test. Remember, the higher you score, the sooner you will get in. And I know I just told you nobody's hiring, but the best thing to do is to be prepared. Things are going to be changing. Why not be prepared when they are changing? It is an aging workforce. I told you, there's a lot of people my age that are be going next year, so they're going to be needing people. Now, when you go for the test, get there at least a half hour early, because if you are 1 minute late, they will not let you in for that test, and they will not give you your money back. So if you don't know where you're going, take a test ride the week before. Make sure you have your directions right. Get there a half hour early. Next slide. Some of them still do interviews, and it's after your aptitude test when they will notify you of your interview. Do some research before you go in for your interview. You know, you can ask them questions. And with that, arrive a half hour early. Because let's say you scored a 95 on your aptitude test and you were 1 minute late for your interview, which they're going to throw your application out. Wouldn't that tick you off? It sure in hell would tick me off. Next slide. Once you've passed, I shouldn't say passed, once you've scored high enough to get in, they will notify you of your start date. This is when they're going to send you for a physical exam. And then they're going to send you for your drug test. This is where a lot of people have problems. They can't pass the drug test. You know, I tell young people, why not work for 30 years and make a lot of money, and then once you retire, smoke yourself to death. Nobody's going to care. And be prepared to come to work every day on time. Next one. For more information, again, CISCO, our website is CISCO, CISCO.org. And there's also an organization called Helmets to Hard Hats. And I've got their website. They help people getting out of the service to get into the trades, because some of them either give a veteran more points. Some of them might be have direct access, but each one is different. On our website, look for apprenticeship guide, and that's where it's going to tell you all the different trades, where you would go to apply, what they do. We also have the wages on there. So thank you for listening, and I think my time is up.
Oh, thank you, Ms. Ryan. Our next presenter will be Ms. Megan Lee from FedEx.
Hi, Megan. Are you available to present? If you're calling in, make sure to press *6.
Can you hear me?
We can. You can begin whenever you're ready.
Perfect. It just kept saying that I kept being put on mute, so I apologize. So good morning, everyone. First off, I just wanted to say thank you for everyone who put this event together, and thank you for all of those who have served. So I am Megan. I am the Talent Acquisition Coordinator for FedEx Ground. I work out of 3 different stations. I work out of the McCook station, the Bedford Park station, as well as the Chicago station. However, I promote all of our stations, so whichever is the best commute for you, I highly suggest applying. I'm going to start off by giving a brief overview of the company and go through everything, and then we can get to the nitty-gritty of what we're currently hiring for. So FedEx Ground is a leader in cost-effective package ground shipping. We offer dependable services to businesses and residential customers throughout the U.S. and Canada. Through more than 150,000 employees, more than 620 distribution hubs and local pickup and delivery stations, and then 74,000 mobilized vehicles operated by 5,300 locally owned small businesses. FedEx Ground supports nearly 10 million packages daily. So throughout the year, we hire hundreds of employees as package handlers and operation managers. These individuals are the heart of our company. Package handlers, they are lifting, loading, and unloading packages, while the operation managers, they are the first level managers that keep everything running smoothly. They are the leaders of the future. One of our more traditional career paths within FedEx is you will usually start out as a package handler and then as operations manager and move up from there. But we know that there are a lot of different paths to grow within our company. We offer lateral movements, incentives, and have a variety of business areas like safety, engineering, maintenance, HR, accounting, and many more. We also have a tuition assistance program to help employees realize their dreams and achieve their goals. At FedEx, we pride ourselves on what we call the Purple Promise, which is I promise to make every FedEx experience outstanding. And we look for people with those customer-focused work ethics, people who are self-motivated, and goal-oriented will thrive at the FedEx ground locations. We do offer trainings for package handlers and operation managers. FedEx is one of the most admired companies in the world, and if you'd like to become part of the FedEx team, you would need to be prepared to work hard and to open up to new opportunities as the company continues to grow. And then also, as working for FedEx, we offer benefits to our employees. So after a minimum of thresholds of services, employees are eligible for healthcare, dental, and vision benefits. We also offer tuition assistance and an employee assistance program, which offers free counseling sessions and other work-life balance services. And then as a package handler, day one, all employees are eligible for 2-week paid parental leave, and they are also eligible for discounts such as phone bills, grocery coupons, concert tickets, movie tickets, and even buying a car. So when I started out saying that we have multiple paths within FedEx Ground, our main one that a lot of our individuals start at is the package handler, because they are the backbone of our company. They're the ones who get to work early, late, throughout the night, 24/7, and getting those packages out to businesses and residentials on time. However, you can apply for any other positions within the FedEx network. You would just have to go to the FedEx.com website. However, if you're specifically looking for our ground network, that would be groundwarehousejobs.fedex.com. And then you'll be able to see all of the listings that we offer here at FedEx. And day one of becoming a package handler, you can apply for any position within FedEx. So even if you have a background, let's say engineering, you can apply for that position once you become a package handler. As long as you meet the minimum requirements for that position, which is listed on every application, you will be eligible for it, and you'll be going through the interview process. But like I said, majority of the people will start here as package handlers. All of my superiors, so all of my stations who have senior managers here, they have all started out as package handlers and moved their way up. I'm in the human resource department, and even my own human resource director has started out as a package handler. So there's a lot of growth within the company, and you can go into many different avenues. But if you need to reach me directly, even if it's out of sight of my locations, you can reach me here at Megan, that's spelled MEGAN.LE at FedEx.com, or you can reach me on my office number, which is 708-485-5704. If I don't answer you, I will promise to answer you by the end of the day. Just please let me know that you joined this session here, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.
Well, thank you, Megan. Our next presenter will be Whitney Elders from the Illinois Department of Revenue.
Hi. There we go. Hi, my name is Whitney Elders, and I appreciate you guys having me today. I work for the Illinois Department of Revenue. I've been with the agency for a little over 7 years. I started as a revenue tax specialist trainee, which is one of the titles I'd like to talk to you about today. However, about 5 years ago, I was given an opportunity to work for the Chief of Staff. So I've been a public service administrator for that office ever since. Next slide. I only have about 10 minutes to speak today, so I'll briefly cover what the agency does and where the various offices are located. I will touch upon the veterans preference benefits and the various veteran resources that we have available. I'll cover IDOR's employment opportunity website and the CMS 100 application. And I'll conclude by highlighting some of the various benefits available to the revenue employees. The Illinois Department of Revenue administers the Illinois tax laws and collects tax revenues. The agency provides funding information. Ooh, sorry, we can go back to the next slide. The agency provides funding information to state and local constituents. There are approximately 1,450 employees working for the department. The majority of employees work out of the Springfield headquarters. However, we also have an office in the downtown Chicago at the James R. Thompson Center. We have regional offices located in Des Plaines, Rockford, Marion, and Fairview Heights. And there are also some employees that work in the field, and they're scattered throughout the United States. It's far too many people here, revenue, and they want to run away, or they think that they have to have an accounting degree to be able to work with our agency. But that's the farthest from the truth. Today, I want to talk to you about titles that we offer that don't require any tax knowledge at all. We obviously have positions that assist with the processing and auditing of taxes, but we have so much more within our agency. Next slide. Can we go to the next slide, please? Oh, sorry. Back one. There we go. So the state of Illinois offers a Veterans Preference Program. Some of the positions require applicants to take an exam, and those who qualify for the Veterans Preference Program will receive extra points, which are added to a passing grade. You won't be able to add points if you don't get a passing grade to start with, but if you do receive a passing grade, then additional points are added, and there's not enough time to go into the point structure, but I will provide some resources where you can go and find out what tier of benefits you qualify for. Qualifying veterans preference applicants will also receive interview and employment preference over non-veterans in the same category. So what that means is we have to hire all of our A grades first. But we offer employment positions to all veteran A's before we do non-veteran A's. And the same if we have to go down to a B grade, we would interview and hire veteran B grades before non-veterans. A certified copy of your DD 214 or the DD 215 is required to secure your veteran status. This documentation can be mailed, emailed, or faxed to the information provided in the blue box on the bottom of this page. I recommend securing your veteran status before you start applying for positions so there's no confusion. Since we only have a little bit of time to talk today, I'd like to share two websites of particular interest to you. The Veterans Outreach Program and the Veterans Preference Requirements. I can provide those in the chat box after I finish my presentation, but I have also provided a PDF of my presentation that has hyperlinks to the events organizer. So I hope that can be extended to you as well. So I will be sure to post those links here soon in the chat box. Can we go to the next slide, please? If you are remotely interested in working for the Illinois Department of Revenue, I highly encourage you to sign up for job alerts. That's another link I'll post in the chat box after I conclude my presentation. It's an easy way to kind of stay up to date on some of the opportunities without having to follow or log in daily to see job postings. It's a pretty easy website, tax.illinois.gov/employment will get you to our page. The top link is the job alerts, and then we have a link to the CMS 100. I'll talk a little bit more in depth on the next slide about the CMS 100, but that is available on our page as well. You can, there are also links to, maps to the testing centers. We also have flyers for our frequently hired titles. Because I don't have a lot of time to talk in depth about the different positions, those flyers do indicate salary ranges and degree requirements, if there are some, and how you would go about applying for those positions. I have also added a link to the Veterans Preference Program so that if you lose or you don't copy the link that I provide in the chat box, then you can always navigate to our website and you'll find a link there as well. Next slide. please. So applying for all of the positions I'll talk about today start at the same point, the CMS 100 application. Like I previously said, I do suggest securing your veteran status before you go forward with your application process. So you guys do have a pre-step that I recommend taking. But any of you that are familiar with the CMS 100 are aware it's kind of a beast of an application. You're going to want to save it because you don't want to enter this information every time that you want to apply for a state position. And you'll also want to use the September 2020 version, which can be found at our website. Because if you use the wrong version, it can exclude you from consideration. I do encourage you to maybe bookmark our page because we will always link to the appropriate version. Because of the length, I do recommend that you save the application. A signature is required, so be sure to type your signature or sign it. The typing is new as of the September 2020 version, so we can, I think the state in general is transitioning to accepting electronic applications, which is wonderful to hear. Be sure to follow the instructions. CMS is known to be sticklers. So if the application asks for your school address, be sure to provide the full address and include the zip code. When you get to the work history section, start on your most current position and then work backwards chronologically. You want to write thorough descriptions of your job duties using active verbs, and then submit a separate CMS 100 for each position during an active job posting. Anyone who has applied for state positions in the past may not be aware, but we are transitioning to a new process. We are somewhere in the middle. We're not where we want to be, but right now you do need to apply while the the posting is active. So it just reinforces that that ability to sign up for the job alerts so that you receive information timely and have the ability to apply before the posting is down. Next slide, please. There isn't enough time for me to discuss all of the frequently hired titles in depth, but I wanted to list 5 of the common titles with a few of the details. There is animation on this one. So if you can go forward maybe 3, there's going to be 5 shapes that pop up and then you can stop. There we go. Thank you so much. So don't let the taxes scare you away. We provide classroom training and on-the-job training, and we also pair you with a mentor. So if there's any tax knowledge required for the position, we will ensure that you have the proper training resources available to get you up to speed on where we feel you need to be. The data processing assistant title is a great way to get your foot in the door with the agency, as there's no degree requirements. We also, let's see, if you have an associate's degree, you qualify for the account technician position. If you have a bachelor's degree, you can apply for a revenue tax specialist trainee position, and they compose about a quarter of our staff. We have revenue tax specialists in a variety of different areas of the process. So sometimes they're working with the taxpayer before they filed any returns, or if they're setting up their business. And then we have the revenue tax specialists working processing returns that have already been filed and maybe resolving some issues with it. And then we have collections and auditing. So everyone's working with the taxpayer in some way, but just different parts, different aspects of the process. Our auditor position does require a degree in accounting, finance, or business management, in addition to 21 hours of progressive accounting coursework. So that one does have a specific degree requirement, but it can be probably our most lucrative path within the agency because of, I don't want to get too into the weeds, but we have semi-automatic promotions tied to some of these titles, and even the supervisors are covered under the union contract. And then we also offer paid student internships. You do have to be a current college student or enrolled in the upcoming semester. So you can work full-time over your winter and summer breaks, but you do have to be enrolled in the following semester's coursework. And then you can work part-time during the school semester. So that's a really great way to gain valuable experience while getting paid to do so. And in a position where we recognize that school is definitely, your main focus. Each of the full-time positions that we offer have career advancement opportunities tied to them. The positions highlighted here, with the exception of the internship, are all union positions that come along with annual step increases and cost of living adjustments. And one thing, we have a variety of different career paths for all kinds of different educational backgrounds. Next slide, please. Working for the state of Illinois comes along with a robust benefit package. You start accruing sick and vacation time immediately. Employees earn 3 personal leave days per year, but this is prorated depending on what month of the year you start. And then you also earn 12 paid holidays or 13 during election years. Employees also qualify for medical, dental, vision, and life insurance on their first day. So there's no waiting periods that you typically find in the private sector. The state of Illinois offers a pension, which is different than a 401k. A pension is like guaranteed money, whereas the 401k is impacted by market fluctuations. The state of Illinois also offers a deferred compensation program as another revenue stream for retirement. If an employee works for the state of Illinois for at least 20 years, the state will pay for the employee's health care premiums upon retirement. So that's another huge benefit that the state offers. Something that shouldn't be overlooked, though, is how the Illinois Department of Revenue invests in its employees. They offer up to $2,500 in tuition reimbursement every fiscal year. And we also have a training center that offers a variety of different courses. And then there's another program that I don't have time to go into, but I could answer questions about it. But the state of Illinois invests in their employees by providing the upward mobility program for some titles. Next slide. I know that I tried to cover a lot of information in a very short amount of time, and I believe we'll be answering questions at the end of all of the employer presentations, but feel free to contact me with any questions that you have via email. If I don't know the answer, I'll be sure to find somebody who can help. And I do want to thank you so much for your time and attention today, but I do want to also thank you for your service and sacrifices. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Elders. Our next presenter will be Nick Garner from Pepsi Company.
All right. Hi, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining. My name is Nick Garner. I am the Veteran Employment Program Manager for Pepsi Co Frontline. What I do in my day-to-day job, I travel the country attending hiring events when we're not under travel restrictions. This year has been a lot of virtual events, including this one. Everyone, Pepsi is one of the largest companies in the world, right? A Fortune 100 company, providing Pepsi Co as a whole, providing food and beverage products for everything from Pepsi and the different sodas and things that we have to Frito-Lay, snack foods, Quaker Oats, Gatorade, a lot of other products. So we're a big company and we're definitely in a lot of places. I'm a veteran myself. I retired out of the Army, and one of the things that I really love about my job is getting to work with the hiring managers and the different leadership and helping them hire veterans and increase their knowledge of veterans and how to bring them on board in the organization. Here on this first slide is my email address and my LinkedIn profile. If anybody would like to connect on LinkedIn, I'm always open for veterans and service members who are looking to connect via social media. Could I have the next slide, please? So this is a list of the types of positions that we hire for Frontline on a pretty consistent basis. So, we have sales reps, merchandisers, delivery and transport drivers. We have various technician roles, machine operators, folks that work in the plants producing products, warehouse quality control technicians, PLC control field service. So the sales reps they deal with the retailers. So it's not so much convincing people to buy Pepsi products as it is making sure that the retailers have, the product that they need. They have the promotions that we have going on at that time, and that our products are being displayed correctly and to our best advantage. Merchandisers fill a similar role, less on the sales side and more making sure that the product is in the store correctly, that it's neat and orderly and the adequate supplies are there. And again, the different promotions are in place. Like if you've been into a large box store or a grocery store and you've seen the big displays made of 12 packs, whether it be like a football stadium or, whatever the display is, a merchandiser did that. And those are the folks, the sales reps, the merchandisers are really, there where the rubber meets the road for the business. They're the ones getting the product to the retailers and in the hands of the consumers. Our delivery drivers and transport drivers are both CDL Class A positions. The delivery drivers are going throughout their area that they're assigned and delivering product to the stores, and in some cases stocking shelves and doing a little bit of merchandiser and sales work as well. The delivery drivers, it's local. It's a day cab truck, meaning it's not a tractor trailer with a sleeper or anything like that. So the delivery drivers are home every night. Transport drivers is the over-the-road type roles. Those are the ones that's going to be the semi-truck, the tractor trailer, moving products across regionally. Those jobs for drivers are in the minority. The majority of ours are the delivery drivers in the area. Electromechanical technicians and PLC technicians, they all work in the production plants. They're making sure that the manufacturing equipment is working correctly and that, the product's being put out there. Maintenance technicians, same thing. So fleet technicians, we always have a demand for fleet technicians. Those diesel mechanics, they are the folks to keep our fleet going. And they're always in demand. They're very well paid. If you look across the average of our technician roles, average starting pay for a technician of any kind is right around $54,000 a year. Some are a little bit more than others, depending on how specialized and the level of experience. So like an experienced fleet technician is going to make considerably more than an entry-level fleet technician. And the PLC technicians, those are programmable logic control technicians. That's a fairly specialized area, but it's definitely highly compensated. Automatic or manual for delivery driver. That's going to be determined on the area of the trucks that they have. But those are definitely CDL Class A licenses that you're going to have for those roles. We have openings generally for warehouse loaders. That's the folks that are taking the product in the warehouse and getting it set up and ready to load on the trucks to get out to the consumers. But these are just a sample of the frontline roles, that we're generally hiring for across the country. Can I have the next slide, please? All right. So these are the openings that we have in the state of Illinois for frontline roles currently. So this time of year traditionally is more seasonal for us. The majority of our hiring goes on in the spring and summer, because that's what we call the 100 days of summer. That's where we do the most business and most production. So right now, a lot of our work is seasonal. But we have, again, relief drivers. Those are folks that are helping fill in if any of the regular drivers are unable to make it to work that day. We've got merchandiser roles part-time. We have some full-time warehouse loader roles. And again, a lot of seasonal and part-time stuff right now. Let's see here. So if anyone's interested in any of these roles, I'm going to put the website in the chat where you go to search and apply. And I'll also put the link to our veteran talent community in there as well. And the veteran talent community is where you can go upload your resume, fill out your fill out your information, get it in the system. So that way, when the recruiting staff is in there looking, they're going to know that you're a veteran. They're going to already have a look at your resume. They're going to look at your job preferences. And you also have the ability to set up job alerts. So that way, when job openings do become available, they'll get sent to your inbox. As far as the specific locations in Chicago, we have we have several locations in Chicago, so it's really going to depend on that individual opening as to where in Chicago it is, because we have a fairly large footprint between production, warehouse, things like that. So it's really going to depend on that individual role. Next slide, please. So this is where you can go and join our talent community. And then you can search and apply for career opportunities at PepsiCoJobs.com. And this, that's our veteran-related social media content. We're getting that going in the past few months, whether it be on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We'll also put postings in there for individual jobs, kind of give a glimpse into what we do at Pepsi as far as veterans. And one of the things that we have, that many companies have, is what's called an affinity group or an employee resource group. And for Pepsi, that's called Valor. And Valor is our veteran employee resource group that definitely does a lot of things in the veteran community as far as among PepsiCo employees and then in local communities as well. One of our things that we do every year, we move a flag across the country. So normally it'll start, it goes coast to coast, and the delivery drivers will move it across the country. So what they'll do is they'll take that flag that's been flown somewhere significant. They'll take it from one delivery route all the way to where that route touches another route, and then they'll do a physical handoff, and they'll move it that way across the country. This year, that's going to be virtual with what's going on with the pandemic and different travel restrictions. Another thing that we have in the front, as far as frontline roles, is what's called the Frontline Leadership Program. And the Frontline Leadership Program is for folks in frontline roles that are doing real well, you're performing really well, and you want to assume more of a leadership track at Pepsi. So you go through that program in a cohort with other, what we call HIPOs or high potential employees, and you'll work on projects, and as a group, you'll get introduced to leaders in the company, the different business units and different functions. So you get an introduction and a knowledge of what goes on around the company. And then that helps you build your internal network and also gives you exposure to the different leaders. So again, all of our open roles are posted on PepsiCoJobs.com. If anyone applies for any of our openings, please send me an email. Let me know which job and which location you've applied for, and I'll make sure to follow up with the recruiting team so they have visibility on your application and they know that you're a veteran. Again, thanks everybody for attending today. And if you have any questions, feel free to post up in the chat. And again, my email address is on the first slide, and I'll go ahead and put that in the chat as well.
Thank you, Mr. Gardner. Our next presenter will be Chanel Smith and Kevin Irvine from Rush University Medical Center.
Good morning, everyone. You can go to the next slide. So thank you for your service today. Kevin and I are very happy to be here to share some information about Rush University Medical Center. First, just giving you information on our eye care values. And so the Rush University System for Health includes our medical center location that is right off of the 290 Expressway, Rush University. We have Rush Copley Medical Center, which is in Aurora, and Rush Oak Park Hospital. And all of these locations make up the Rush University System for Health. Our mission is to improve the health of the individuals and diverse communities that we serve through an integration of outstanding patient care, education, research, and community partnerships. And within the Rush Health System, when people talk about what type of employees are Rush looking to bring into the organization, we really focus a lot on our ICARE values, and ICARE is an acronym that stands for innovation, collaboration, accountability, respect, and excellence. And just for the sake of time, I won't go through what each ICARE stands for, but I do encourage everyone to definitely visit our main website, rush.edu, for more information on what Rush says these ICARE values are. Definitely, if you are interested in employment with our organization, to consider what ICARE value resonates with you and why you would want to bring your talents to the Rush Health System. Next slide, please. So I'll pass it over to my colleague, Kevin Irvine. And I'm sorry, I didn't introduce myself. I am a talent acquisition consultant with the recruitment team here in Rush. I work a lot with our diversity hiring goals, which includes our inclusive local hiring goal. Of course, I work with our veteran recruitment, our campus and university recruitment, and where I can, I assist my colleague, and I will let him introduce himself as well as more about our DE&I recruitment efforts.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Kevin Irvine. I'm a senior talent acquisition consultant for individuals with disabilities at Rush. And I also I work with Chanel on our local hiring and recruitment initiatives, as well as recruiting veterans for all types of roles at Rush. For those of you that are joining us today who are veterans, thank you very much for your service. We value you at Rush and would love to find out more about you as a candidate for jobs at Rush. First, we will keep this brief because I know there's still others still to present. We want to make sure we have time for Q&A. Can we go to the next slide, please? So we have a very extensive commitment to recruiting people with disabilities and veterans. Among the one of the things, my role is focused on people with disabilities more often, but just so you know, that is a very broad definition that includes people with all different types of physical and mental health conditions, even people that may not necessarily consider themselves to have a disability. I don't need to know what someone's disability is to provide additional support. And the main thing is just if you say you identify with one of these groups, disabilities or veterans, then we can provide some additional resources when you're looking for jobs at Rush. One of the tools that I want to make sure people know about is on our veterans page. We have a military occupational specialty code that you can tool that you can use for jobs at Rush University Medical Center. When you do that, you can punch in the code and it'll tell you what jobs on our site currently sync up with your experience. And so if you're fairly recently have left the service, this is a great tool so you can get an idea about the types of positions that might sync up with your experience and your education. We have a number of different positions. I mean, Chanel mentioned the different sites where we offer jobs. We have over 175 positions on our site right now just for Rush University Medical Center. But there's more at Rush Oak Park Hospital and Rush Copley Medical Center out in Aurora. And next slide, please. And Chanel's going to talk a little bit about some of the different positions that we have. This is just a sampling, and we add new positions all the time. Rush is growing, and so my email address is kevin_irvine@rush.edu. It's in my name here in the Zoom. Feel free to reach out to me directly. Chanel will also put our recruitment email address in there. And we have a lot of resources and handouts and links on our virtual job fair page. So be sure to check that out as well. Chanel?
Thank you, Kevin. And so Kevin, as Kevin mentioned, this is just a snapshot of all of the available roles that we have within the medical center and then across the health system. And so if you don't mind traveling to our other locations, I would highly encourage you to look at the Aurora location as well as Oak Park and then our main medical center. here on the west side of Chicago. Every week we have new jobs posted to our website. Some of the high volume roles that we're generally always looking for are some of our clinical roles. I'm sorry, I'm getting like so many emails in my left ear, which is taking my attention away. I do apologize. But some of the clinical roles that we have are patient care technicians, which the certified nursing assistant is the required certification for that, as well as experience as an EMT. And I want to say medical corps, if I'm saying that correctly, but please, we do have another flyer on our booth, which shows all of the qualifications for patient care technicians. Medical assistants, we need medical assistants so bad right now. Just for the industry, healthcare industry, medical assistants are really critical right now. So if you do have that certified medical assistant certification, that works perfect for us, as well as phlebotomists and pharmacy technicians. I would like to add that we are also looking for medical laboratory technicians. That requires a bachelor's degree in science, as well as a medical laboratory technologist certification for the 2 and 3 positions. For some of our non-clinical roles, when you think about everything that it takes to operate a medical center, we have everything from patient service representatives, patient access coordinators, which are more administrative and customer service involved, as well as guest relations. We have supply chain tech positions. Our environmental services is within housekeeping, which is very, very critical to our hospital operations, as well as security officers, clinic coordinators, and our food service department. And so we have these positions and many, many more that are on our website. The slide says jobs@rush.com, but we have had a new website launch. And so if you go to rush.edu, you can go to the next slide, please. Rush.edu under careers, it will take you to our landing page. And so you can see on the landing page that we have a military occupational code translator. And so we know that sometimes relating your military experience to civilian positions can be challenging to make the match. And so on our website, you can find this translator that you can put your military occupation experience, that code, and then it will populate all of the positions within the Rush system that speak to your experience. We also have a dedicated page for individuals with disabilities, as Kevin mentioned, that you can find information on requesting accommodations. And if you had any specific questions about how to navigate employment at Rush in regards to having a disability, Kevin's contact information is on the website as well. Next slide, please. So just a couple of best practices for our application. It's really critical to read the entire job description, and that way you can best show how you are the best candidate. We are not shy. Competition is pretty tough at Rush, but I guess it happens when you're one of the top medical providers in the country, and we're proud of that. And so we want to make sure that you are clear about what the requirements are for the position. So just make sure you read the entire job description, making note of what's required and what's preferred. Definitely when the application asks for more detail, this is your opportunity to state why you are the best candidate for the position. Even if you don't maybe have the full amount of all of the requirements, let's say you're on the minimum of the years required, this is still an opportunity for you to, for lack of better terms, make your case as to why you're the best candidate. And then definitely, why do you want to work for Rush? We encourage everyone to go to the website. We just launched the entire health systems website, where it has information on all 3 of our locations, as well as our several outpatient facilities across the system. You want to really connect with the work that Rush does. And why do you want to bring your talents to the organization? I encourage everyone to look at the About Us tab on the website. Rush is very committed to the community, not just from providing healthcare services, but being a leader and a change maker as it relates to reducing the life expectancy gap here in Chicago between the Loop area and where we sit on the west side at Rush. Rush is very committed to addressing the social determinants of health, as well as creating health and racial equity within our communities. And so a lot of the work that we do within the community centers around creating health equity. Kevin, was there anything you wanted to add from there?
No, I think you covered it, Chanel. I did, the one thing I forgot to mention when I was talking earlier was that Rush has very active employee resource groups, including a veterans employee resource group and a disabilities employee resource group. So we want to make sure that people can bring your whole self to work. And so, when you're applying for jobs at Rush, tell your story and let us know who you are. Our applications are actually read by human beings, and so we want to know a little more about you and find out why you're interested in working at Rush and what experience and education and interest you bring to your job. Thank you.
Thank you. That was a great call out. I love when we hear a number of our colleagues talk about bringing your whole self to work. It's really important. I think it speaks to our ICARE values, because you can be innovative. We have to collaborate to do the work that we do. There's a respect for everyone's differences, and we're leading with excellence. And so those are just a few of the ICARE values that definitely resonate with me. And I hope that you find one that resonates with you as well. Next slide, please. So this, we were talking about interviews. We have a sourcing partner, Skills for Chicagoland's Future, that we work a great deal with. Some of our interviews are done by them, as well as Rush Recruitment, of course, our hiring managers. Sometimes we do panel events where we call them Blitz, where you can interview with a few hiring managers at the same time. I won't go through everything on this slide just for the sake of time, and I'm sure that they will send this out, but these are just a few tips from us on interviewing, which can also be found on our website in the careers page under job seekers resources. Can you go to the next slide, please? We have been conducting virtual interviews, and so we like to assist job seekers as much as possible up front by just giving a few tips. We're having a virtual hiring event today, so we all know how the environment has changed. We do 2 types of virtual interviewing at Rush. It just depends on the position. Not all of our positions are done by virtual interviews, but one of them can be an on-demand video where you record yourself answering pre-selected questions, and then the recruiter and the hiring manager can review that. And then another option as you move further along in the process is the live interview with the hiring manager and yourself. And so these are just some tips on creating a great virtual interview experience. Next slide, please. And this is our on-demand. This is just showing how we provide the on-demand. You can go to the next slide. And so we get a lot of questions about our background check process. I heard someone mention on the call or on the meeting earlier about some of the pre-employment requirements. Along with doing a full state and federal background check, we do also do the employee drug screening, and marijuana is also still illegal for us because we do adhere to the federal law. But we are equal opportunity employer. As Kevin mentioned about the application, control the narrative across the board. So even as it relates to providing information about having a background, you don't necessarily have to provide that information up front. As you move along further in the interviewing process, then you will be provided a disclosure form. When you are controlling the narrative, it's about getting all of your information that may populate on your background report. And so having full disclosure of all of that information. And we do like to say, if there's anything in the process of being sealed or expunged, that you should still disclose that information because it has the potential to still populate on your background check. We do accept the healthcare waiver form, but that is not a guarantee of employment. You can go to the next screen, please.
Hi, Chanel. This is Daniel with FIU. We have approximately 1 minute to conduct a wrap up before we can go to the Q&A session. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for your interest in Rush University Medical Center. Thank you for your service. Please go to our website, www.rush.edu, and for more information on our careers page. Thank you.
Thank you. This concludes the employer's presentation portion of the event. I will now turn the session over to SIU team for question and answers.
Thank you, Johnny. And just kind of as a preface before we kind of delve into the Q&A here, I just do want to mention for those of you still on the call, if you could please enter any of the questions that you do have for any of the employers who presented here today into the chat section. We'll make sure to get those questions answered for you. Kind of how we're going to structure this, just as an overview, is I will work my way through the chat section and bring up any questions that have not been addressed directly by any of the presenters here today. Once we work our way through that, if we still have time left, what I will do then is ask questions to each of the employers in a sequential order, and you all can just answer those again sequentially, and we'll just work our way through from Amazon to our final presenter, which was Rush. The first question that I have today, this is actually posed for Calibre, I believe. And this individual asks, is there a pathway for a vet who does not have a mechanical background to take advantage of this program? I have the aptitude to be successful, but I do not have the mechanical background. And this will be for Kevin with Calibre. Hi, Kevin, are you available to answer a question? Okay, well, it does not appear we have Kevin on the line, at least at the moment, so we will circle back around to that. And this next question will actually be directed to any of the employers who presented here today. This individual asks, are there any IT anywhere in this day's presentation? So we'll translate that into more of a question format. Are there any open IT positions available for any of the organizations who presented here today? And feel free to chime in.
This is Kevin Irvine from Rush, and I can just real quick say we've got 3 information services positions available right now. One of them is a clinical data analyst for our Alzheimer's Disease Center. The second one is an infrastructure support engineer. And the third one is a senior clinical data analyst position.
Fantastic. And Kevin, while I have you on the line, there's actually another question that kind of piggybacks off that one. Another individual asks, more specifically, what about senior IT positions?
Well, I can tell you that at Rush, we scaled back our hiring with the pandemic, the financial hit from the pandemic. And so we don't have as many information services positions as we might have had about a year ago. But we do expect that to turn around in the future as we continue to grow and our position is stabilized. So if we don't see it now, I would definitely recommend going to our site, creating a profile and signing up for email alerts so that you're notified when new positions are added that match what you're interested in. We also have a category on our website on the different job types for new this week, and you can check there regularly, and then you'll see new positions as they're added to our site.
Fantastic, thank you, Kevin. And any other employers that would like to answer that question, you're more than welcome to as well. If not, we'll go ahead and move on to the next question that I have here.
Hi, this is Whitney with the Illinois Department of Revenue. And we have had our agency, our IT has been merged into one for the state. So they actually fall under the Department of Innovation and Technology now. However, anyone interested in IT positions can go to workforillinois.gov. The 4 is the number 4 in that URL. And we have a variety of different entry level and senior level positions that are posted on that website. So I encourage them to still fill out that CMS 100 I spoke about during my presentation, and then submitting that application to any of the postings that fall into, the IT arena that they're looking for.
Fantastic, thank you, Whitney. And actually, while I have you on the line as well, we can kind of pivot to some of the questions that were asked during your presentation. This individual asks, are there any appointed positions without the testing for your agency?
Sure. That can be a difficult question to answer in a short amount of time. However, we have titles that require exams. We have titles that you send your CMS 100 into the job posting, and then our HR department sends it to CMS for grading from the application. So you get a grade based on your experience. And then we are transitioning to a different practice where it actually doesn't even use the CMS 100. It has an online application, which is absolutely wonderful in the 21st century, where you can apply online and the computer kind of grades everything. It's expediting our process, which is slow and cumbersome currently. So a lot of the non-union positions right now are going down that path. So there are some that don't need the multiple choice exam testing. And then we also have with the state exempt appointments that don't require interviews. And those typically are named by the governor, and they are high level positions. One thing that has changed recently is that our HR program administrator has to certify that the person being named for those positions is qualified to do the work that they're being named to do. So I think that is definitely an improvement in our process, but there's lots of ways into the state, that's for sure.
Fantastic, thank you, Whitney. And there actually was one more question that I saw came up for you, and I'll try to frame this kind of in I guess, diplomatic type fashion. This individual asks, would you be precluded from employment with the Department of Revenue if you had back taxes owed or any other financial issues outstanding with the state?
Sure, and that's a fantastic question, because I didn't address that in my presentation. We at the Illinois Department of Revenue do require a tax compliance check and a background clearance, a criminal background clearance. Now, just because you have had back taxes or maybe an issue that has arose in the past, we don't preclude you from applying or even getting the position. We do ask that either the issue is resolved prior to starting, or that you enter into a payment agreement in which it will be resolved in a time frame that we deem appropriate. And And then with the criminal background clearance, there are lots of things that happen in people's lives, and there sometimes, you know, that story that goes behind it. We don't preclude people from employment because of maybe some past decisions that were made that maybe weren't the best. However, we do ask for honesty, and on the form, we do ask you to identify everything that you've had in your history. And then depending on the nature of it, you know, identity theft would be something we wouldn't look at because we have such sensitive information in our agency. But if you had maybe a DUI that had happened, that's not going to stop us from hiring you. But we do ask that you always disclose all of that kind of information.
Fantastic. Thank you for that response, Whitney. We're going to pivot here again. I have a question for Nick Garner from Pepsi. And you might have seen it in the chat section, but nonetheless, we'll give you an opportunity to address it. This individual asks, is there a way that perhaps you could touch upon jobs that are not frontline roles at Pepsi? And if you would not be the individual, perhaps to attest to this, maybe you could direct them to somebody that could provide them with that information. Nick?
Sure, absolutely. If you've applied for a non-frontline role, please let me know. Same thing. I will follow up with the recruiting team to make sure they have visibility on your application and they know you're a veteran. Pepsi wants to hire veterans for as many positions as possible. Just with such a large company, we have to break things down into sections. One person being the program manager, veteran employment, to be that hands-on across the entire spectrum would, yeah, that'd be quite a feat. But yeah, please send me an email if you apply for a non-frontline role, and I will definitely make sure to follow up with the recruiting team for you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Nick. And we're going to pivot again. I have a question that's actually directed towards Janetta with CISCO. This individual asks, can persons with disabilities apply for these jobs? What does physically fit mean? Janetta, could you kind of explain that process and what the organizations you work with look for?
Sure. I guess it would depend on the disability. I mean, if you're wheelchair bound, you wouldn't be able to be an iron worker. You know, some of the jobs, you have to be physically fit. So their standard answer to something like that is, if you could pass the physical, you could get the job.
Thank you for that. We are going to pivot once more. I do have a question here, and this is actually directed to any of the employers who would like to chime in. This individual asks, are there any openings in payroll or accounting? And for any of the presenters on here today, please feel free to chime in.
With the Illinois Department of Revenue, a lot of our payroll positions are unionized, and so we have contractual rights. In my experience, I haven't seen some of those lower level payroll jobs go to outside candidates because they are always kind of coveted positions and go to contractual bidders. But some of the high level management positions go through that position specific track that I was just speaking about, where it's the online application. So we do periodically have those type of positions available. So I encourage people to sign up for the job alerts email. And then what was the other one? Payroll and
accounting.
Accounting. Okay. So, I mean, we have a lot of accounting positions within our agency. So they can start at entry level, which is account tech, but they can go up to being, oh gosh, we require some CPA positions, and then gap accountants. Those are positions we post periodically, not hiring in a class-like structure. But we do have them, periodically throughout the year.
Fantastic, thank you. We do have another question, and this is also directed towards any of the employers who would like to chime in. This individual asks, are there any quality assurance / inspection and test positions that are available with any of your organizations? It does not appear that we do. So we will
Hi,
pivot.
it's Whitney again with revenue. I don't want
Yeah, no
to
worries.
hoard any of the time, but with revenue, almost all of our revenue tax specialists and our auditor positions have different sectors. Once you've been in the role for a while, we have a quality assurance section. So some of the production that our revenue tax specialists are doing is reviewed because we have a proficiency rate that we want to maintain. So that would be our quality assurance process, but you would come in through the revenue tax specialist position or the revenue auditor position.
Fantastic. Thank you, Whitney. And we will pivot once more. We do have a question that I would like to ask each of the employers that are on here still today. This individual asks, I know many veterans that have been to many job, careers, and events. We are always told about the open positions and how to apply and to send our resumes. However, we never get the job or called back. Do you suggest when we apply that we contact the company representatives here today to help with the process?
So this is Nick at Pepsi. Yes, send me an email once you've applied. And when you send me the email, please send me the following information. The email that you used when you applied for the job. Also send me the exact job that you applied for as it's listed in the job description. Often I'll get emails from veterans like, hey, I applied for that quality job. Okay. Well, so if you could give me that exact information and then the exact location as it's specified in the job description, that'll allow me to easily get in there, find your application, and follow up with that recruiting team to make sure that they have at least seen your resume and they know that you're a veteran.
Thank you, Nick. Any other employer who would like to kind of elaborate on that process, please feel free to chime in as well.
This is Kevin Irvine from Rush, and I've got my email address in the chat, and also my connected to my video here. You're more than welcome to contact me at any point if you have any questions about any of the openings at Rush, or if you have applied or you're considering applying. So Kevin_Irvine at rush.edu, and I'll be happy to provide additional resources before or after you apply. Check on the status of your application, let you know how things are going. And if you have any questions about positions that are not, that you can't answer by looking at the job description, send me an email. I'm also happy to discuss that with you as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Any other employers who would like to address that?
This is Whitney with the Illinois Department of Revenue again, and I hope that the veterans aren't having this experience with the state of Illinois because we have such a great program going for veterans. If you have an A grade for a title, any agency within the state of Illinois has to hire the veteran with the A grade before anybody else. So the only reason why you wouldn't be getting that job if you have an A grade is that it's going to another veteran that may have scored higher on the interview. And so I encourage you to go out to the website and look at the different position titles and then just try to apply for those positions. It's a tricky thing. The state is so difficult with their hiring practices. But once you're on that open competitive list, for my agency, you've applied to an open posting during the posting period. But you actually, for an example, an account technician 1, you've applied to my position that's open, and now you've got an A grade. You actually go on that account technician 1 list for the whole state of Illinois. So you might have applied to my position at Revenue, but you may also get called from the Illinois Department of Transportation, Aging, Insurance, the Department of economics or, economic security. We have a whole host of agencies that pull from that same list. So if they have positions within their agency, you as an A veteran get first priority to interviews and the employment. So let's say that you score a 4 on your interview and a non-veteran scores, they do 100%, they get a 5 on their interview. They still don't get that job. You get the job over them. Because you're a veteran. So I hope to not hear that kind of situation, but I'm always here. I can try to research and make sure that you have your veterans preference certification through CMS. So that might be something you could reach out and ask, and I could get you to the right person, but I don't work in HR or at CMS, so I can't personally handle it, but feel free to reach out to whitney.elders@illinois.gov and I can direct you to the right person.
Thank you, Whitney. Any other employers who would like to address that question before we wrap up the Q&A session here today? It doesn't appear that we have any other employers who would like to address that. So at this time, I believe we can go ahead and transition to the next phase of this session, which is actually a brief presentation that's going to be provided by IDES, just covering some of the veterans services that are provided. Marlena, are you available to present?
I am.
Fantastic. We can begin whenever you're ready.
Next slide, please. Good afternoon. My name is Marlena Ragland. I work with Illinois Department of Employment Security as a Disabled Veteran Outreach Program Specialist. Next slide, please. Here you'll see that we have 2 different titles. One is called LVER and the other one is DVOP. They're both acronyms. LVER, it stands for Local Veteran Employment Representative, and DVOP stands for Disabled Veteran Outreach Program Specialist. They are titles that fall up under Veteran Employment Representative 1 and Veteran Employment Representative 2. Next slide. Here you'll see that the DVOP within the realm of Illinois Department of Employment Security, as well as the partnerships that we work with, we're also called Veterans Career Coaches. And you'll see that we have certain duties that are allotted to us. One thing that I did not state was in the previous slide were the requirements in order to be a DVOP and a leaver. In order to be a DVOP or a leaver, you have to have knowledge, skill, mental development equivalent to the completion of 4 years of college with courses in social or behavioral sciences, business administration, or marketing. It also states that you have to have an honorable discharge. That isn't entirely correct. For the state of Illinois, it requires other than a dishonorable discharge from the Armed Services of the United States, and preference is always given to qualified disabled veterans. So the D in DVOP stands for disabled, and it does not necessarily pertain to the veterans that we serve. It pertains to us because majority, if not all, of DVOPs and leavers have a VA service-connected disability. Under this program, Jobs for Veterans State Grants, we have an authorization according to the grant as administered through the Department of Labor. We have an authorization statewide for 22 DVOPs as well as 18 leavers. The number of positions may change. They are solely based on the annual grant funding amount. Next slide, please. Here you'll see some of the leaver duties. These are our Veteran Employment Representatives 2. The Veteran Employment Representatives 1 are the DVOPs in that they assist you in finding resources. We go along with different local local organizations, as well as faith-based organizations to assist any veterans who have what's called significant barriers to employment in finding employment. And we work hand in hand with our Veteran Employment Rep Level 2, also known as LEVER, Local Veteran Employment Representative, also known as Veterans Business Specialist. We work hand in hand to ensure that the veterans that we work with become job ready so that they are able to liaison with employers, employer associations, business groups in order to take advantage of the resources that they provide in order to give priority to hiring veterans. Next slide, please. And that is all I have, and I will turn it over to the SIU group. Thank you.
Thank you for that presentation, Marlena. At this point, we will now transition to just kind of a brief overview of workNet tools and resources that are provided, and my colleague David Garvey will actually be covering that. David?
Thank you, Daniel. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is David Garvey with SIU's Center for Workforce Development. I wanted to let you know or remind you that today's session is being recorded and will be available on the employer booth pages in our virtual job fair area for each of the employers who presented today. And the links to those employer booth pages have been shared in the chat. I also wanted to provide a brief overview of the Get Hired website. This can be reached by going to illinois.gov/gethired. And I've shared that URL in the chat. And so Get Hired Illinois is a web portal that has been designed to connect workers with available job and career training opportunities across the state of Illinois. And so you'll see some buttons on this page, and we'll just go through each one pretty quickly here. Job seekers, click here. This will take you to Illinois Job Link's website, where you can navigate and look through different job postings that are available. The virtual job fairs button, this will take you to the virtual job fairs landing page, and this is the tool that job seekers can find which employers in Illinois are hiring by looking at their employer booth pages, which are on some cases were shared earlier in this call. You can also find upcoming virtual job fair events by clicking this VJF events button, and you can see a calendar view of upcoming events as well. And I do also want to note that there's a lot more employer booth pages on this screen. This is just filtered down to a search of #veterans, and these will be the employers who are presenting this week. And as the week progresses, more will be added, but you can find each of the employer booths from our presenters today by entering this #veterans in the keyword search. And you can also search by industry, another filter there, as well as location search as well. The online training opportunities button, that'll take you to this page on Illinois WorkNet. And this page has different training options that are available to you, from community colleges to WIOA approved training programs, other public and private programs, and apprenticeship opportunities. And additionally, below here on illinois.gov/gethired, job seekers may apply for unemployment insurance and access additional resources through this page. And the last thing I wanted to make note of was the Veterans Assistance Guide, which is available on Illinois WorkNet. And you can access this on the Illinois WorkNet homepage by scrolling down to this Guides and Tools section and clicking this Veteran Assistance Guide button. Alternatively, you can enter illinoisworknet.com/vets, and that'll take you to this landing page here. And you can navigate through the different slides we have by clicking these arrows here, or this drop down button here. And this guide includes information and resources such as how to connect to benefits and services, translating your skills that you've earned in your service to the workforce, and preparing to search for a job. Additionally, we do have pages with an abundance of other resources that are available to veterans and their spouses. And I'd also like to point out that all the resources that have just been mentioned are free to use for job seekers. and will be accessible through this Get Hired Illinois website and Illinois WorkNet as well, well beyond this week's events. And with that, I believe we will go ahead and close out this session. And I do want to give Richard with IDES an opportunity to share any final remarks. Richard?
Yep, thank you. I want to say thank you to everyone for taking part in today's Veterans Virtual Recruitment Series. Just a reminder that you can participate in each one of this week's events. Tomorrow we'll have a new employer panel that includes Allied Universal, Dot Foods, Blessing Hospital, Manchester Tank, Caterpillar, Professional Swine Management, Department of Children and Family Services, and G4S Secure Solutions. Take care and have a great rest of your day.